Okay, well, now it's time to take a look at some of the stories in the news and out there in pop culture that have everyone talking.
Psychotherapist Dr. Robbie Ludwig joins us on the couch to discuss some of these big stories. Now, we talked about Stephen Colbert, top of the show.
Yes.
You say this was not the most obvious choice.
Well, I mean, listen, he is very popular and known as extremely talented. He can write, he can act.
He can sing.
He can
He won a Grammy Award.
He can do funny interviews. This is a man who is very well liked, and that's the key that you need for late night. You need likability. And he also has a huge audience that will follow him anywhere, and kind of nice to know behind the scenes the people who work with him really love him. So that's always really nice to hear.
Yeah, but will people follow him now that he's not going to be the character that he is on the Colbert Report?
Well, I guess that's what we'll find out. But I'm sure this is a man who will figure it out, and maybe he'll bring back his character for his late night fans if there's a place for it.
I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Smart,
I would
funny.
like to see him do it as Stephen. Though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm looking forward to that, actually. That's what I was most excited about with the decision.
He's probably figuring out how to be himself and be very popular. And it's nice for us New Yorkers to know that the show is going to stay in New York at the East Coast.
Do we know that?
Oh,
See, that's the thing.
That's
Mayor of LA.
Right, that's what you would think, that he would keep it here.
If his family's here, he'd want to keep it here.
That's
keep it real.
That's right.
With the real folks.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he'll book Amanda Bynes. She's making headlines again. What's the latest?
Well, her mother is now coming out saying that she was not diagnosed with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. I don't know if you remember when she was wearing crazy wigs and throwing bongs out windows. The claim was that she had paranoid schizophrenia, or that was what one family member said. Now the mother is claiming that is not the case. She was not diagnosed with a mental illness, but in fact it was due to smoking marijuana. So it's a big question mark. Now, as a mother, I could totally see where she would want to protect her daughter's mental health privacy and not necessarily put it out there what her diagnosis is. I mean, as we know, that is something private between a patient and a doctor. It's not something you want everyone to know. But the hope is, I think, for many people who are diagnosed with a mental illness, if somebody is high profile and they are struggling with a mental illness successfully, that they come out, they talk about it, so the shame is no longer there.
Right.
Because we really need that for people who are diagnosed with mental health issues.
But as a mom, I'm wondering, why address that at all? Doesn't that hinder the recovery of your daughter as well? I don't know. I'm just...
You know, it's not clear. It's not clear if this was a discussion that was had and they decided to treat it this way as a family in order to protect their daughter and facilitate her recovery. We don't know if Amanda felt that there was a lot of shame out there and that there would be prejudice directed towards her as a result of being out there with, you know, schizophrenia attached to her. I could see both sides. I could see both sides.
Well, you want to keep it private, but how do you keep it private when you're all over the media?
It's true.
Well, we just heard her croon, Selena Gomez.
Yes.
But now she's not being managed by her mom and dad anymore.
I love her. Isn't she talented and so pretty to look at?
But
I'm concerned for her,
I'm concerned about her, too.
Well, I have to say, though, there comes a time in a daughter's life where she needs to appropriately separate from her family.
And from her Bieber.
And the way she talked about it and the way the family talked about it was initially it was a shock. But everybody is really on board because they really felt they were focusing too much as a family on the business instead of each other. So it might be a healthy split. Of course, you always hope that the right choice in management is made because that's very important financially and in terms of what professional options are out there for her. She's very talented.
Right, but we've seen so many families split because of these disputes, you know. I mean, and you've also seen what happened with Matthew Knowles and Beyonce Knowles, and, you know, she moved in a different direction, and she still has a successful career. So it could end up being something very good for Selena.
We can't always assume staying with family and management is the right decision. We don't necessarily, we can't assume that's the case. And if it's causing a lot of parent-child conflict, we don't want that either. We never want business to interfere with family-loving relationships. So hopefully it works out. And listen, your family's always there. You can always choose your family back if you want to rehire them.
Or you could send your mom an email
Not after 6 p.m.
France is banning work emails after 6 p.m.
Gotta love France. Not only do they know how to eat and shop and dress, but apparently they know how to work and not work. I like the idea. It's very thoughtful. I don't think it's the American way, although we do know that when people take their vacation and get the right amount of rest and can balance their life, they are happier and more productive. The American version, I think, is having 2 phones. A work phone and a personal phone. And I think that's the way Americans are trying to handle having a boundary and split between their work life and their personal life.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't think it's realistic. Do you?
Well, I could lose 2 phones instead of 1. Listen, it's another country with a different mindset about work. It's more socialized there, so they have more entitlements. It's certainly possible that it works for them, although people in France are saying, hey, listen, this is hard to enforce. So it's a big question mark. We pretty much identify ourselves by what we do, so it's hard to make that separation.
Well, we hope that people can. And Dr. Robbie Ludwig, thank you so much for joining us this morning and for your insights. We appreciate it.
And feel free to send her an email tonight at 10 p.m.
Yes, because she will answer
because I have no boundaries.
Thank you so much.